The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, welcome to our third and last workshop in the Twinlife Marketing Workshop series. You can see that with me today I have our guest presenter, Sonia Vandenbosch, and Melinda Larkin, who's Head of After Education and Training. We're very lucky to have you with us again, Sonia, and I would just like to draw everybody's attention to the toolbar that you've got, and you'll notice in there's a section called Handouts. Sonia has placed in there 2 handouts for today's workshop. One of them being brand archetypes, and I'll just ask that you download them both, but particularly the brand archetypes, don't look at that just yet. Look at that when Sonia gets to it in the workshop. You are all in listen-only mode, but we are recording these workshops and they will be put on the AFTER website for you to look or refresh or come back and visit the content. As you're in listen-only mode, please use the toolbox to ask any questions that you have, and we'll spend some time at the end addressing those questions. Well, Mel, I'm going to hand over to you and you'll say a few words and intro Sonia.
Thanks, Jo, and thanks, Sonia. I'm just going to do a bit of an intro about Sonia and her company. Sonia, as you know, is the founder and owner of Twinlife Marketing, which is a truly unique business and marketing leadership company. And it helps businesses and brands to create a strong market position and grow continuously. And today is all about brands, so I'm very excited to hear what Sonia's got to say. The Twinlife team, which is quite extensive, leads and guides clients on their business strategy and marketing journey, from strategy development to executive guidance to staff empowerment, uplifting both the business and the people, which is very critical. Sonia is a founder and MD of Twinlife Marketing since 2009, and she's originally from the Netherlands and now living in Sydney. Sonia is an avid world traveller who has worked in business and marketing leadership roles in Europe, North America, Asia and Australia in a wide variety of industries, including travel. And she does have an extensive background in travel, as well as many other industry areas, but she was instrumental in introducing a global branding strategy worldwide for an organisation in the past. So what I love about Sonia is she's extremely passionate about what she does, but she's also been kind enough to do these webinars for us because she also feels for the travel industry and understands they're going through a tough time and would like to help them and guide them through this time, and presenting opportunities for you guys to actually look at your business model, look at your marketing and your branding strategies, and take this time to, I suppose, move forward and take this opportunity during hibernation to review your strategies and implement some new ones, particularly when we go into recovery mode, when the international markets recover. So Sonia, thank you very much, and thanks Jo for organising all of this. I really appreciate it.
Well, sit back. I hope you've got a warm cup of tea and can enjoy. I caught up with Sonia yesterday to cover off the content, and she's got some amazing insights, some wonderfully inspiring stories, and I hope that you enjoy it and take away some new insights that you can apply to your business. Sonia, over to you.
Thank you, Jo, and thank you, Mel, for the wonderful introduction. And yes, today it's about how you can stand out in a crowded market space. And today I'm going to share a lot of stories with you because this is a little bit of a fun one. Last week we looked at a lot of statistics, but today I'm going to share a lot of stories with you. So let's get into it. So for those of you who are new today, I was born and raised in a tiny country called the Netherlands in Europe. And while I was preparing for this workshop, I actually thought, you know what, when you talk about a brand, you can think about a person, you can think about a company, but you can also think about a country. And that is because if I say a name of a country, we all have some ideas around that, a perception around that. So if I say the Netherlands, you know, people say, oh, tulips and windmills and dikes, and some people say Amsterdam and the wildlife there. So I Googled actually the Netherlands as a brand, and I learned something new. So what I learned was that the Dutch government actually has done a massive rebrand, and they've changed their logo from a tulip with the name Holland into the two letters NL and the name Netherlands. Now, why have they done this? And I was very intrigued because they're just starting to roll this out now internationally. So first of all, obviously, the Netherlands is the proper name of the country. Although the country is known as Holland, it's not the proper name. So they want to get back to the proper name. But they also basically say that they wanted to really represent and have a true reflection of the Dutch mentality, which they say is openness, inventiveness, and inclusivity. And what they basically is saying, we're doing this because they believe that a clear-cut international image is positive for our exports and the attraction of investment and talents. It's a country, but sounds also like a business. So that's what a brand can do for you. So in our first workshop, I told you guys how, as a student, I organized trips for students to Russia. And then in our last workshop, I told you about how my husband and I set up a travel website when we went on our world trip, and how this went viral before we even knew what the word viral meant. And today I want to talk to you about my time with Travel Indochina, and the reason why I loved working for that company so much is when I met them on my first interview, I really love what they were standing for. They were standing for authentic small group experiences in countries. And the slogan at the time was, meet the people, experience the culture, and savor the cuisine. And, you know, the company was very famous for small group journeys, both with a local guide and a Western guide, combining the best of both worlds. The issue was we had a branding challenge. Because we were so well known for this type of travel, people didn't realize that we were doing other types of travel as well. So what we did is we had other brands. We had Vietnam Holidays, which was our brand for budget travelers. Then we introduced Handmade Holidays, which was our brand for independent travel. And then later on, we also launched a top market luxury brand, which was called Essence of Asia, which was basically a combination of both independent travel and also small group journeys. Now, the interesting thing with this is, and the issue with this is, the more brands you have to look after, the more complicated it gets and the more expensive it gets as well. So last time I spoke to you about how we are, you know, expanding globally and how we're setting up websites in all these different countries. But multiply that by 4 brands, and all of a sudden you're not looking after 5 websites, but you're looking after 20. Very complicated. So my recommendation is always, if we can, to keep it as simple as we can. Company, brand, same as the people, that's amazing. Sometimes there's a really good reason to include more brands, like say the Qantas and the Jetstar brands, very different demographic. However, more brands make it more complicated. So I've been having the same discussions with the team at Luxperia, you know, the company that I'm working with at the moment in Vietnam. And they have two distinct target markets. They've got inbound travelers coming into Vietnam and Asia via travel agents and tour operators. And they obviously also have the high net worth individuals in Vietnam, both locals and expats, traveling with them through Vietnam and the rest of the world. But we've decided to keep it all under the one and only name, which is Luxperia. And obviously we use the name Luxperia DMC Collective when we talk to travel agents, tour operators, and local operators on the other sides. So this is my company. And as Mel has explained very, very well what we do. I just want to say that my purpose in life is to really uplift people. I've always done that. I've always loved that. And that's also the main reason why I started Twinlife Marketing. I get really happy if I can uplift other people. And that's how we work when we work with clients. We work in partnership. We don't just uplift the business, but we uplift the team. And we co-create together with them, and basically combining their knowledge, energy with our knowledge, energy, and our fresh outside perspective. And you know what we do is we develop strategy, we drive outcomes, and we empower teams and people. And hopefully, by this workshop today, I'm empowering you to really stand in your power and stand out in the marketplace. So obviously, we've done a 3 series, and we started with strategy, and it was all about the focus and direction for your business. And always, always, always start with strategy, and that's where it starts. And then last week, we looked at digital, and we looked at all the tools and the channels that are available, and we connected that to the customer journey. And it was all about how can you strengthen that customer journey. And today, it's really about how can you step into your power? How can you really stand out and stay relevant? So what that boils down to, it boils down to how well you can build strong connections. Now, on one hand, we've got your ideal target market. And I just want to say your ideal target market is not just your ideal customers. Obviously, they are a big part of it. But part of your ideal target market are your potential staff members, could be your industry contacts, could be your media contacts, could be your suppliers, and even your investors. Now, on the other side, there is your business, your brand, and you. Now, sometimes your business, your brand, and you is the one and only person. Sometimes you're part of a bigger business, you're part of a bigger brand, you've got a team around you. It doesn't matter whether you are part of a bigger travel group or whether you're on your own. What we'll be talking about today, and what we're talking about, is relevant for both. Because what we're looking at is building a strong connection between your ideal target market and you, your brand, and your business. Because once we have this two-way engaging relationship built on trust, and we spoke about this in our customer journey, where it's not just us screaming with a big megaphone to the market, look at me, look at us, look at our business, but it's really about what are our customers about. That's when we can really start building up that connection. Now, you as the head of the company are obviously really important. And some of you might have heard of the term personal branding. Now, and the hero, obviously, who is the absolute hero in personal branding, is Richard Branson. Now, his brand is 100 times more powerful than the Virgin brand. He has over 17 million followers on LinkedIn worldwide. And that's where the value sits, the audience he's able to reach. And you know, whether you like him or not, that's not the point. He really stands out in his own special way. And he really personifies the whole Virgin brand, you know, the fun, cool personality. And what's really important for you to realize now, you know, we don't all need to become the Richard Bransons of this world. However, you as a leader, you are your brand. You are your company. The way you act and behave towards your team, towards your customers is really, really key. But take that a step further. Even the way you behave in social situations. So for example, if you have a Facebook page that is a business page, and you've got a personal page, and you've got that open for anyone to see, what you post on your personal page will be found by everyone. What happens nowadays? We see a name and we Google them and we see what comes up. So I just want to say there are great opportunities, but also be aware what you post and what you say and what you do. So you can do the same also on a much smaller scale. So this is a team at Luxperia, and what we've basically done to gain traction in the market in Vietnam rapidly is we've basically built the brand on the personal brands. So Lynn, who you see on the front cover of this luxury magazine called Portfolio, He was basically a spokesperson for the Vietnam National Administration of Tourism, where he built up a substantial network, and he has a lot of great industry contacts. So at the moment, he's getting a lot of great PR coverage. So this is a luxury consumer magazine. And what we're also doing, we're not putting it just on the one person. So on the left-hand side, you see Lan, who's actually the managing director, and he just got featured in a magazine about mice. So I'm not telling you all to get your face into magazines, but my message here is just think about what opportunities are there for you as a person on a local level in your local community. And it could be with the businesses around your shop, or it could be with the people you're connected with online. So just have a think about, are there any opportunities for you to represent your company from a personal branding perspective? So what we're building is reputation. And what is reputation? Well, reputation is subjective. It's a belief that someone has towards a person, a business, or a brand. Reputation is something that we remember. And you know, a good reputation is very, very valuable because it will attract good people, good customers. And building up a reputation doesn't happen overnight. It's more like a longer term play. It takes time to build trust. However, once you have a really good reputation, it can also bring you a lot of lasting value if you keep up with your reputation. And you know what? That's with things like educating the market, storytelling. You know, I can't say this enough. Storytelling really helps you build a reputation. Asking feedback comes in, as well as showing both your business and your human sides, because that all helps. But you know, reputation is purely based on perception. And perception is about, what is perception? How people think and feel about you. You know, what do people think and feel about you when you leave the room? It's a very interesting question. And obviously, on the other side of this, you've got your business, and your business has an identity. And your identity is your business, your brand, or you. And it's all about what you say and how you say it. It's your voice. It's your look. You know, in branding terms, they talk about the look and feel of a brand, the colors, the images being used. And most importantly, and this is often forgotten, it's the actions. It's how you behave. You know, what is the experience that people have when they deal with you? Because that's where you can build your bridge between your identity and the perception that people have. And there's 3 steps that people go through. We all go through when we deal with a new company, a new brand. The first one is, and this is the start of the customer journey, we need to know that they exist. Otherwise, we don't know. And we don't know about them. So that's called brand awareness. It's important, but it's not the most important. Obviously, once we become a customer, it's the middle side of the customer journey. It's about the experience that we have. And then the final part, really key, and that's where real value sits, is the brand loyalty. How loyal am I? Am I going to come back? And am I going to recommend them? Now, I've said that perception is subjective, and your reputation is based on the perception of a lot of people. And, you know, this is a very simple illustration how perception is different for everyone. Every one of us looks at the world with a different pair of glasses on. So what's really, really important for us as business owners, no matter whether we are business to business or business to consumer, is that we try to understand the perspective of our customer. What do they want? What do they value? What do they need? How can we best serve them? How can we stay relevant? Because if you do that, you're already standing out, because a lot of companies are not doing that. They are there to talk about me, me, me. Look at what we do. Look how wonderful we are. Look how great we are. Doesn't work. Might work for a little while, but it's not where the real power is. You know, I come back to my definition about marketing. It's really about understanding how you can make the life of your customers better. You know, what do they need, want, value? And how can you obviously translate that into profitability for your business? Now, marketing works in two ways, and this is really important. And this is also where sometimes there's a lot of confusion. Now, obviously, marketing is there to help with short-term sales activation. However, on top of that, you have to do brand building. So what's the difference? Sales activation is where you obviously try to get sales through the door. It's a short-term play. And obviously, if we are in a sales role, which we are as a travel agent, even I'm in a sales role of my business, every month we start from zero and then we have to sell. And at the end of the month, next month, we start from zero again. However, if you are more experienced as a person, as a brand, as a business, you've got a reputation in the market. People know you. People like to do business with you. People like to come back to you. You don't start from zero anymore. You build that up with your brand building. Now, the thing is, and this is where the secret is, brand building is putting messages into the market that are not necessarily sales related. I can tell you this, if you do that, you probably get more sales. Because people don't just want to hear, buy from me, buy from me. They want to hear inspirational stories. They want to hear about how other travelers have experienced working with you. Build up your brand. I'll show you a few examples later on. Really, really key. And that comes back to the second part of the definition of marketing. It's about delivering the right message to the right target market, obviously, via the right channels at the right time. So let's get into the framework. So the framework that I'm going to take you through today is the Stand Out and Stay Relevant framework. And as the other frameworks, it has a worksheet at the back. Now, what I recommend and what's different from this worksheet compared to the other ones is that you work this out. And I can tell you, it might not take you one day, it might not take you 1 week, it might not take you 1 month, because this is quite an intense one. Once you've got this worked out, put this framework at your desk. Every time you do something, you communicate with somebody, you want to write a piece of marketing material, look at your framework and see if you're, if you are on brand, you're touching these points. So the framework starts with your ideal target market. Who are you communicating to? And then there's two wings. There's the emotional side and there's the value side. And ideally, all those points are very clear. Once you have those points, you will translate this in what you say and how you say it, in how you look, and also how you behave. So let's get into it. So the first one is purpose. It's the difference you're trying to make in this world. It's, they say purpose is the glue that holds organizations together. And it's the life force of an organization. It's basically, it should be at the forefront of decision making. It can give you strength and inspiration. It's your northern lights. But what is a purpose? So some of you might have heard of a person called Simon Sinek, and some of you might have heard of the Golden Circle. If you haven't, I recommend you look him up. He has a really amazing TED Talk about the Golden Circle. And what he basically says is so true. He says, every organization on the planet knows what they do. These are the products and services that you sell. Some organizations know how they do it. And that is basically the things that makes them special or the things that set them apart from their competitors. However, there are very few organizations know why they do what they do. And the why is definitely not about making money. That's a result. The why is a purpose, a cause, a belief. It's the very reason why an organization exists. So whenever we start with a new client, first question I always ask, and that's often where you can find the purpose if you think, oh my God, how am I going to find this why, is why did you start this business? The other thing is, if you're the business owner, your personal why, your personal reason for being in this world, is often related to the business why. Now, I told you that my personal why is to elevate or to uplift people. And, you know, I do that naturally. I think it's my gift. And that's also the why of Twinlife Marketing. I'm really aligned with that. You know, we uplift business people. My job is to uplift my team. You know, if I look at the how, we always work in partnership approach, win-win situations, empowering people. And, you know, what we do is the most boring part. But, you know, whenever I need to make a decision, I go back to this. So when I was approached by Melinda and Joe, and they asked if I wanted to help out the travel industry, I went back to my why. Is this aligned with my why of uplifting people? It absolutely was. It was an easy decision, and I'm very, very fortunate to be here with you today. Now, if you want to read a bit more about this is a really great book. It's co-written by the co-CEO of Whole Foods. It's an American book. And they basically state that when a company has a very clear purpose, it is much easier to form authentic customer relationships and attract like-minded customers who basically share their passion. They also talk about 4 categories that you can look at to come up with your why that I'm going to share with you. So the first one is, they call it the good, service to others, improving quality of life. Now, I really think that travel fits there perfectly. An example is Whole Foods markets. Their purpose is to nourish people, you know, with good quality food. The second way you can look at a why is the true. It's about discovery and furthering human knowledge. And one example is Google. Their purpose is to organize the world's information. Then we've got the beautiful, where it's all about the creation of beauty, excellence. You can think about the arts, companies that create stuff. An example is Apple, creating insanely beautiful technology. And then we've got the heroic, which is basically the courage to do what is right, to change and improve the world. And an example of that is the outdoor gear brand Patagonia, and their purpose is to safeguard the environment. And their CEO, Casey Sheehan, says, you know, we take complete responsibility for every product we make. We repair our products, recycle them, help people sell them when they no longer need them. We are trying to protect all of the embodied energy in the product and not have it end up in landfill. Big statement for a clothing company. So that's your purpose. This is Kimmy. Kimmy is one of my lovely Twinlife Marketing team members. And she also has a background in the travel industry. She was the general manager of sales and marketing for Best Western for 12 years. And after she left there, and before she joined Twinlife Marketing, Kimmy set up a travel giving company called Travel Giver. And Kimmy wanted to change lives. She wanted to give charity projects a voice, and she wanted to make giving simpler. So it's a very simple concept. You can book travel on this website, and the providers of travel that pay a very small fee to be part of this website. And then 50% of this fee goes to a charity, and you as a consumer can pick what charity you want. And the other 50% goes back into Travel Giver to make sure that they can keep running the business and that they can keep updating their technology and in everything. So I thought it's a really nice example. So, purpose, big question to ask yourself. Not one that you can answer straight away. Maybe you can, but it's something that you probably want to think about for a little bit. So why do you do what you do? And ask yourself, you know, why did you start this business? When you know this, use it in all your communication. So I've harped on about purpose quite a bit, and I realize that, but I've done that because it's really, really important as it flows through into everything. It's the first step in your emotional connection. Now let's look at the second one, which is values. So what are values? Values actually are your acting and guiding principles for how you behave, for how you make decisions. Your values actually describe your desired culture in your business. Shared values connect us together. Values hold communities together. They help us attract and retain ideal clients. If you're dealing with a difficult client, when your values are aligned, you are able to get through it. If your values are not aligned, it's going to be really, really difficult. So for me, values are at the root of everything you do. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what do your values mean to you, and how do you bring them to life? So what I recommend you do is you pick 3, only 3, no more. And I know that's a challenge, but pick 3 absolute core values that you are 100% confident you can live and breathe day in, day out. So it's really important to not just pick values for a marketing spiel, because I see that happen all the time. They're on the website, they're completely forgotten, doesn't work, but you really want to make sure you want to live and breathe them. So I'll give you my personal example. So we've got 3 values that we absolutely live by, and every time I do something, I check, am I still living my values? And the first one is truthful. It's the way we interact within our team, and with everybody else that our business touches. We're honest, we're direct, we say what we do what we say, but it's also the way we do marketing. Unfortunately, there is too much rubbish marketing out there and fake news, and I just absolutely don't want to have anything to do with that. So for me, that's really, really important. Our second value is inspirational. It means that everything we do, no matter whether it's a challenge or whether it's an opportunity, has to be surrounded by positive energy. If we are in the flow, if we are creative, it works. I always talk to my team about leaving our clients better than we found them. If we go in for a meeting, absolutely the quality of our work needs to be there, but it's even more important how we make them feel. How do they feel after we leave the room? And then our last value, it's not a surprise, is the value of empowering. I really believe in the principle of building long-term win-win relationships. And that means there should be no codependency. We build up our clients. They either grow and grow and grow, and we stay with them for a very long time, or they're able to stand on their own feet and we let them go and they become great referrals. It's as simple as that. So as a leader of the business, values are important, and you really have to walk the talk and always check in with yourself. Am I living my values? And talk about your values with prospective clients, customers, anyone else. I always do this because I also want to make sure there is a really good match. This is a really nice company, and Michael, the CEO, is of GBSS, and it's a company that specializes in offshore business support. Not very unique, it's basically outsourcing business solutions in the Philippines. However, Michael, the CEO, has a really great purpose and values that come across very strongly. And the reason why he has this business is because he wants to create better opportunities for the people in the Philippines. He believes that if he looks after his staff, he treats them as family, they've got very strong family values, that will, flow through in really great customer service for their clients. And interestingly enough, GBSS also works with companies in the travel industry. So, oops, this is a quote I really, really like and says it all. Now, confidence on the outside really begins by living with integrity on the inside. Counts for person, counts for business. So questions to ask on the values. What are your 3 core values and what do they mean to you? And how do you live and communicate these 3 core values? Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is personality. So personality is basically how you describe your business as a person. And why is that important? So that people can relate to it. So, you know, you can think about things like, are you young, mature, premium, inexpensive, reserved, or outspoken, masculine, or feminine? Interestingly enough, often a brand personality of a business or of a person mirrors that of its ideal target markets. So this is where the brand archetypes come in. And please don't look at your worksheets while we're in the workshop, but do it afterwards. But basically the handout has a description of the 12 brand archetypes, and they're basically based on 12 personality types. And it's a very fun exercise that you can do with your team. Look at all the descriptions and think about where you fit. Giving you a very quick example, Microsoft is the same as Mercedes, it's the ruler, authoritative, very organized, structured. Whereas if you look at Apple in the same industry, it's all about doing the impossible, the magician, doing things differently. So your personality, think about what type of person is your business and what brand archetype is your business. All right. So if you are in an industry where you have a commodity product, you can still become an absolute hero company, even although there might be bigger companies with far bigger marketing budgets out there, when you have a really compelling purpose, value, and personality. And this actually happened in the toilet paper industry. And there's a brand I absolutely love, and some of you might know as well. It's Who Gives a Crap. Purpose of Who Gives a Crap is to give more people in the world access to toilets. They basically say that there's more people in the world who own mobile phones than people in the world who have access to proper toilet facilities. So that's what they do. They give 50% of their profits to this really good cause. On the other hand, they also really look after the environment because the product is made from recycled material. And then for the consumer, and we talk about this on the value side, there is this ease of use. You order online, they deliver at your door, 50 rolls in a box. It's amazing. But what's really good about this company is their personality. They're really caring, but you know what? They are funny as. Every toilet paper roll, every box, every piece of communication you receive from them just puts a big smile on your face. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. They have great examples of great emotional marketing. And you know, the fact that I'm talking about this now is their marketing. That's how they've grown. Everywhere you go, I hear people talking about this brand. It's brilliant. Now, here's a very different example. This is one of our lovely clients, one of our family businesses that we've been working with for the past 3 years. And it's a technical company, National Technical Services, and they do big electrical contracts, mainly for big organizations and governments. Now, this company, before we started working with them, already had a beautiful culture. They were really looking after their customers. They were really looking after their staff. However, they didn't express any of this. Not in their language, not in their look and feel, completely nothing. And we've basically used that over the last 3 years, and we've been able to grow massively with that. Why is this important? Now, listen. Yes, they are dealing with government organizations, but inside government organizations, there's human beings who have emotions. So no matter whether you're marketing towards a consumer or whether you're marketing towards a business, there is always that human-to-human connection. And I just want to show you 2 examples of some quite good communication that we've just used over the past few weeks to communicate about values, and they're good examples, so learn from them. So the first one on the left-hand side, the last few weeks have been trying for everyone. For us at NTS, this has made us more aware of the importance of our core values of respect, service, and sticking together. To that end, we started up a program of check-ins where a senior manager calls each person every week to ensure everyone's doing okay. Shows them how they're bringing the values to life. Our teams are also having more regular sessions to maintain cohesion and rapport. We're seeing more than ever that our can-do attitude, their positioning, where they want to be known for, we're known for as we band together to continue delivering excellence for our customers, the value they're delivering. We'll talk about that later. At this unprecedented time, we'd like to extend our reach to the wider community and ask you, how are you doing? Two-way engaging connection. What is your business doing to stay strong? Perhaps we can learn from each other and be stronger together. Please do not hesitate to reach out and check in with any of our people, human to human, not business to business. Take care and stay safe. Absolutely zero sales messages, but I can tell you this will have, in the longer term, a really positive effect on their sales. And then the second example is Shane on the photo. He's the dad, he's the founder, and he's basically talking about how he's been heartened by the resilience and the culture of his team. And he basically says, you know, so much has changed in the way we do life, both in our personal and professional lives. So, you know, while every change is a challenge in some way, we've all had the added challenge of adapting in the midst of uncertainty on the national and even global scale. But I've been heartened by the resilience and culture of the NTS team. And then you can go into the article. So it's just an example of how you can bring a really good culture to life in your voice. Now, if you like this and you want to learn more, this is a book I highly, highly recommend. It's a great book. It's a fun book. It's a story. It's the story of Tony Heesh, who's the CEO of Zappos. And Zappos is a company in the US, an online company that does shoe sales. So not very exciting at all. But his story is amazing. And the way he's made a company in a commodity market so special, and the culture they've built is absolutely brilliant. So put it on your reading list. It's great. So that's the emotional side. So let's go into the value side now. What value are you bringing to your customers? And, you know, let's look at the three elements that are underneath there. So the first one is differentiation. So how can we stand out? How can we make sure we are that red tulip amongst all the yellow ones? Now, obviously, when you have a unique product or service, this might be your differentiator. However, if that's the case, the marketing challenge often is that the market doesn't know about your product or service, and you need to educate them. And an example of that is a technology product. However, if you are more in a commodity space, or you have other companies that offer similar products, you have to stand out in another way. And obviously, you can use your purpose and your values and your personality. But often, there's more you can do. And the answer is often found in focusing on the customer instead of focusing on yourself. So if I look at Twinlife marketing, you know, our biggest differentiator is that we are becoming part of someone's team. We're not order takers. You know, we're not an agency. We basically go in and we become a staff member, and then we empower the internal people. Very different. Now, I'm going to share with you a story from early on in my career. It's probably one of my favorite stories. And it's a company I worked for called Life Fitness. Now, some of you who might go to gyms or health clubs and have sit on an exercise bike or a treadmill might know this brand. It's an American brand, worldwide #1 brand. And very quickly, I'll tell you, this company actually started the whole cardio fitness revolution. In 1968, a cardiologist, Dr. Dimmicks, invented the life cycle, the photo you see there. And you see this guy, this is Ori Nieto, who's the founder of Life Fitness. He was a student at the time, and he started driving around in a camper van throughout the United States, visiting health clubs and trying to lease this product. And that's how the whole cardio fitness revolution started. So big brand worldwide. Fast forward 29 years later, I started working for Life Fitness in the Benelux market in 1997. And my brief was very clear. In these three countries, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, were number 2. And number 1 is another company called Technogym. It's an Italian company. They're only number 1 in these 3 countries and in Italy. You are here to bring us to the number 1 position. Now, interestingly enough, they're both big companies, both big brands. And if you looked at the equipment objectively, they both had really good equipment. Now, obviously, our product managers in the US said, nah, Life Fitness is better. We're all about ergonomics. And yes, that's really important in the US. However, Technogym, Italian company, was brilliant in design. In Europe, obviously, design is a little bit more important than in the US. And, you know, although I had a really amazing head office support in Chicago, where they had a big marketing team who came up with all this beautiful branding material and beautiful brochures, I knew that I was never going to win the race purely by pushing the brand and by pushing the product. So the target market that we had were mainly fitness and health club owners. And I realized very quickly that they are very passionate about health and fitness, but they often didn't know how to run a business. And what they basically said was, yeah, it doesn't really matter whether I have Life Fitness or Technogym. What really matters to me is how I'm going to make my business successful. So what we started to do, we started to help them make their business successful. We started to do marketing workshops, sales workshops. We started to take them on study trips. And I was the lucky one who got to go. We took them to the UK, where we showed them the future of fitness, because the UK was like 10 years ahead of mainland Europe at that time. We took them to the US, where we showed them even the bigger future of fitness. And we toured them around our factories. And, you know, we obviously spoiled them with amazing dinners. And we started building up an emotional connection. And we started to help them. And we helped everyone. They didn't need to be a customer. Could be a Technogym customer. Could be a Life Fitness customer. Didn't matter. The great thing was, by the time they had to make a decision, what piece of equipment am I going to buy? They were already emotionally invested, and they're like, well, you're the one who's offering value. You're the one who's different. You're the one who's basically helping me with my business. So that was our strategy. And we did become the market leader. It was so exciting. You know, we grew our market share from 13 to 40+% by really connecting with our customers on a human level and really understanding how we could add more value. So we had a account management team that would go out and sell the equipment. But what we did is we put together an internal team that would call health club owners and would just say, how are you doing? How's your business doing? What can I do for you? And that's how we obviously got into all the training things. Now the question is, did we get copied by Technogym? Yes, we did. Were they able to do it as good as we did? Absolutely not, because they didn't have the secret sauce. And I vividly remember the last trade show that I went to before I left for our world trip. I was introduced to the CEO of Technogym. And he said to me, the first thing he said to me, he said, you're the lady that has made my life so difficult. He said, with due respect, I've told my marketing team to copy everything you do. And this is what happens. You know, if you are in a leadership position, if you stick out, people will try to copy you. But as my boss, Frank van der Ven, always said to me, you know, a copy is never the same, especially when your secret sauce is in something intangible, which might be your culture, your people, the way you treat customers. So think about what makes your business truly unique. And it's, as I said, often found in the people. Think about that. So what is special about your business from a customer perspective? And then let's look at positioning. So positioning is where you sit in the market, is what do you want people, what is the space that you want to occupy in your target market's consciousness? Are you seen as the trusted, knowledgeable travel agent that always comes up with great ideas? Or are you seen as the desperate pushy salesperson that is just constantly bombarding me with deals that are not even relevant to me. So what do you want to be known for? So, you know, if I look at my business, I want to be known for win-win relationships that are based on mutual trust. Comes back in the name, Twinlife Marketing. You know, it's the way we work. So you can decide what you want to be known for. It can be something that's already there in your business, or it can be something that you work towards. So don't know if anyone knows this company, a travel company in the UK, Black Tomato. They're luxury travel experts. And that's how they position themselves. And their text is quite clever as well. You know, welcome to the world of Black Tomato. They're already inviting you into their world where luxury travel is done better. Okay, positioning themselves. We create truly bespoke trips designed not only to show you the world, but to change your world. And then it's clever how they've actually put a COVID message in there. So even today, when our borders are closed, there's still cause for hope. As Tom, our co-founder, recently wrote in Harper's Bazaar, Connection with the Luxury Market, we've seen the world and we'll see it again. And the call to action is very nice, you know, so let us show you the path less traveled. Life is good here. You know, life is good in our world, inviting you in. The other interesting concept from a positioning perspective is they've come up with this concept called Blink. And they are creating these very bespoke travel experiences where you can actually go to places where nobody has ever been to experience the best the world has to offer. Another example, very interesting example, is Western hotels and resorts. They've jumped on the bandwagon of the whole consumer trend that we spoke about in the first workshop of wellness. It's on their homepage, you know. Westin, travel well, explore hotels designed with your well-being in mind. Stay well at Westin. So it's really interesting. You can look at a consumer trend and decide whether you want to be part of that. So positioning, think about what you want to be known for. And again, it can be something that you're already doing or something that you are striving towards. And then the last one is customer value. And customer value is about what is the clear benefit that your customers receive from doing business with you. Is it peace of mind? Is it your knowledge and expertise? Is it you make it everything easy? What is really the value? Why do they come to you? Now, I'll give you an example of a brand that we all know that, you know, has created great brand awareness and even brand experience, but hasn't created the brand loyalty. Now, we all know Uber, and, you know, it's brilliant how they've changed the taxi market and created the ride-sharing market, you know. However, and I'm sure we all know the brand, and I'm sure we all have experience an Uber ride. However, as soon as alternatives came into the market, first of all, the concept was very easy to copy because it was a technology concept. The drivers are not really connected to the business from a cultural perspective. So as soon as there was an alternative, which was Ola, what they basically did very smartly, they offered the drivers a higher commission. And then they offered consumers a lower price. So what happened? People were not staying loyal to Uber because why would I pay more and the driver would get paid less? Now, me as a marketing person, while I was in an Ola or an Uber, I would be speaking to the drivers and I would say, oh, who do you drive for and why do you drive to them? And most of them would say, I'm not loyal to Uber. You know, they're ripping me off. I ride for whoever I want to ride for. And at the moment it's Ola. So this is really, really interesting. That sometimes, you know, that the brand loyalty is not in the technology, but it's often in the person, the people behind it. One more example, and let me just quickly take a sip of water. Now, if you're living close to the Sydney CBD, you potentially might have seen this brand around. It's QE Food Stores. So they've got stores in places like Paddington and Waverley and Randwick, and also places on the Lower North Shore and the Inner West. So I met Narinda, the founder of QE Food Stores, about 4 years ago when they were called 7-star supermarkets. And they had 3 stores And Narinder had the dream to grow to 50 stores. But he basically had an issue. And the issue was his name, well, 7-star supermarket. And he basically came to me and he said, listen, my customers like what we do, but they actually have come to me and basically said, you know, I don't know what you stand for. I don't know what you do. And he said, I also have trouble with, you know, managing my staff because I don't even know how we can give people a 7-star experience. I said, yeah, that's a very subjective thing. I don't even know what a 7-star experience is. So I said to him, don't worry. You know what we'll do? The answer will be with your staff members and with your customers. So we interviewed them, and a couple of things kept coming up consistently. One thing was, you're not a supermarket, you're a food store. This is where people go for their basket shopping. Yes, you do have the full supermarket range, but you're more a food store because, you know, you have amazing fresh produce. These guys go to the markets 3 to 4 times a week to get that fresh produce. And the other thing you do is your product is quality, and you make it very easy to shop for quality products. So with that input, we could come up with, you know, the positioning of quality food shopping made easy, which is the value that they bring to their customers. And, you know, that translated through into their brand name. Q for quality, E for ease, QE food stores, quality food shopping made easy. That's the value for their customers. Now, what happened after Narinder changed this and changed all his communication around this was, in the first year, he was able to double his number of stores and triple his revenue. He's now up to 10 stores and opening number 11. So watch out if you're in the Sydney area. So customer value. Think about, what clear benefit do customers receive by doing business with you? So that brings me to the end of the framework. And that will translate, obviously, in everything you say, you do, and the way you behave. I've got one more example to share with you. There's a UK brand that I thought was pretty clever as well. Elegant Resorts, they're masters in luxury travel. And this text, again, is good. And I always say, look overseas when you're trying to do your own marketing. Find inspiration. Don't blatantly copy, but look what they do and use it. So here at Elegant Resorts, we have a passion for luxury travel, which began in the Caribbean over 30 years ago. Nice longevity there. We are experts at creating bespoke luxury holidays and tailor-made journeys for our clients. So let our dedicated luxury travel specialists use their considerable knowledge and first-hand experience to put together your dream escape. It's all about you. I love this. Our service starts from the moment you call us. Very emotional, very human to human. We prefer to speak to you to discover more about the type of luxury holiday you're looking for, including your preferred airline, transfer options, and room categories, along with the facilities you require. And whether you require direct access to a beach, blah, 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 blah. You might do all this, but they spell it out. Then this, furthermore, the long-term relationships we enjoy with a select group of hotels, airlines, and in-resort partners means this is the value for you, that we can provide you with exceptional offers, adding true value to your luxury holiday. It is this kind of experience that will turn an ordinary luxury holiday into an elegant resorts holiday. And then last but not least, they talk about security and peace of mind, and that they are a member of the Association of British Travel Agents. So that's where your ATIS accreditation comes in again. Now, their look is obviously in line with this. It's luxury, big images, gold and gray, not a lot of text, luxury feel. And for me, who hasn't experienced their product, I could get a taste of their experience on their testimonial page. After 18 years, Elegant Resorts remained a go-to travel agent, reliable, and has free travel arrangements every time. So, you know, that's where your testimonials, your review, all that comes in. We've spoken about that. It's so, so, so important. One last thing, which is a really important stat. 52% of consumers say they get frustrated when brands online don't offer any human interaction, and 80% get even angrier. Now, this is US data, I have to say, but I'm sure it's very similar here. This is where your values comes in. Yes, in the previous workshop, we talked about the digital channels and the opportunities, but this is where you can show your human side. And this is where you can bring them into your channel. And this is where your face-to-face comes in. And, you know, I really agree with this statement that today people are your most effective marketing channel for your brand. And this is obviously you, your staff members, but this is also your customers, your raving fans who hopefully give you great reviews, talk about you, share your stories. So that's your framework. This brings us to the end of this session. So what to do next? Now, first of all, use this framework to really stand into your power and stand out in the crowded marketplace. Try not to come up with all the answers yourself. Involve your team. And if you can't even come up with it, actually involve your customers, ask them. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already done so. Thank you for everyone who's already done so. And also, thank you for everyone who left me a short 5-star Google review. If you still want to do it, I really would appreciate it. And also use this workshop, the videos, they stay on the FTI website as your resources to go back and look at things. Now, I've spoken to Melinda and Joe about, you know, how I can possibly support you further. And, you know, we normally do bespoke consulting work one-on-one with businesses, sitting around board tables. And I thought, well, that's not going to work for the travel industry, especially not with the financial situation that we're in at the moment. So we've come up with something, and it's purely an offer. It's purely something out there. If you're interested, great. If you're not, that's fine as well. But we're starting a travel industry strategy and marketing mentoring group that will be led by me, with basically the purpose to support and guide you in bringing the concepts that we spoke about over the last 3 weeks, and we've only scratched the surface, to bring them to life. So obviously there will be, what will it be? There will be an interactive group video session once a month. It's not like this. We'll see each other and there will be interaction. I don't have specific topics because I will be looking at what are people needing and what are the questions that are coming up. But I can promise you there will be more in-depth learning, frameworks, real-life examples, practical exercises. And there will be an opportunity to work on your own business, ask questions, share and learn from others. We'll set up a closed social media groups where we'll share resources. There will be homework. Yes, there will be homework in between the sessions, and there will be support. And it will be 6 months so we can really get into implementing stuff. We'll kick off on the 16th of July for 6 months. We need to have a minimum of 10 participants, but we'll also want to keep it small, so maximum 25. If you're interested, the investment for this is $600. It's only $100 a month, or if you want to pay up front, it's $550. So if you're interested, please send me an email and also let me know what you want to get out of it. So with that, we've come to questions. I'm going to hand over to you, Joe.
Thanks so much, Sonia. Well, I'm conscious that it's 12, so we've exhausted our time, but
I think so.
The session was just so fantastic, Sonia. Very detailed. I loved the examples. So thank you once again for your time.
You're very welcome.
Just so
I understand. Sorry, I got a bit passionate and swept away with the examples, so sorry about running over time.
No, it's perfect. It was really enjoyable, and those are the examples that bring it to life and make it realistic when we can reflect on what other businesses have done and what other brands have done. Sonia, thank you for delivering this 3-part workshop series for us. Members, I hope that you found it valuable, engaging, and useful. The details are all on the website, so if you want to revisit any of the content, make sure you do that. And Sonia, anything you want to finish with in closing?
Well, I want to close with a nice quote. Just remember this: whenever you do something, people do business with people they know, like, trust, and value. Keep that at the front of your mind. Very, very important. You know, guys, it's been a real joy to run this series for you. Thank you, Joe and Melinda from EFTA, and thank you to everyone who has already reached out to me and people who has left a review. I really, really want to wish you nothing but the best, and hopefully we'll meet again. Thank you.
Thanks so much,
Sonia.
Sonia. Thanks, Mel, and thanks everyone for joining us today. Bye now.